Hey, folks, and welcome to the Daily Ratings Podcast. It's a show where each week we're going to be sitting down with Vincent Daly to get his thoughts on the latest movies he's been watching, both older films and new releases. And don't worry, there's no spoilers. Vince will give a brief review of the movie, share some thoughts, and of course, then rate the film. The daily ratings are always fair, honest, and most importantly, they're consistent. And on today's show, Vince will be rating and reviewing. Get ready, the psychopath Max Cady is in the house because we are jumping back for 1962's Cape Fear. That's directed by J. Lee Thompson. We then have from 1991's Cape Fear, Martin Scorsese directing that. And get ready, it's a first, folks. We are officially covering a TV series. It is the Cape Fear TV series. It just ended on Apple TV. The show creator of that was Nick Antosca. I don't know, these TV people's names. I don't know. Let's get Vincent Daly in the room. Let's have a blast this episode, folks. Stay tuned and enjoy the show. Mr. Vincent Daly across the table. You know what's funny? Only 2 movies this week, but when you throw in a show, it was kind of a lot of watching.
It was a lot this week. I had to binge. I had to sit my ass down.
I knew it was a miniseries, so I'm like, okay, please give me 6. Please give me 6. If it's not going to be 6, give me an 8. Roll me an 8. And it's, 10-episode miniseries. 10! It's kind of a lot these days, no?
Yeah, for real. And also, I don't know actually how well Cape Fear is doing on Apple. I don't really know how well any Apple show is doing other than maybe Silo or something like that.
Sure.
That's the only thing I hear.
Silo's hot right now.
Yeah. Which good for...
Pluribus was doing something for a bit.
Oh, that's true.
I think we're waiting for season 2 of that, though.
That's Vince Gilligan, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but it's just I don't know. The end of the show definitely has room for some degree of maybe a season 2, but we'll see. We'll see.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I hope not.
I don't think the chatter on it is that great.
Yeah.
And then, no, I don't think it's being talked about all that much. I think there was some excitement in the beginning, and then it came out, and it was a little bit just like, oh.
We're really going to drag this out for 10 episodes?
But we both watched it.
Daily ratings first, folks. TV on the podcast.
Oh, official. I mean, what's going on here?
After the 250,
we're selling out.
The rule book is out the window.
We're trying to get anybody we can to listen.
Yeah, right.
It was fun.
Spider-Man underperformed. We got to do anything.
But the funny thing is the reason why this came up is because we're both hot on Robert Mitchum right now.
Yes.
So we just kind of wanted to watch the original Cape Fear.
Yep.
And Vin was saying to me, kind of off mic.
Yeah, we were.
I'm dying to do Cape Fear. Why don't we just pair the two together? And then it's like, oh yeah, duh. There's
a movie.
There's literally a show that's going on as we were talking about it, and it just ended. A week ago or something.
Yeah. The timing of that was interesting. And again, I didn't know the hype of week to week this being released, if people were digging it or not. But I just knew that it was ending on July 31st. So I was like, all right, well, we have this.
Well, we have a dead week because Tony was supposed to come out. 2 movies were supposed to come out this week.
Yeah, folks, we were supposed to do Tony, the Anthony Bourdain biopic, and Camp Miasma, which is the follow-up from Jane Cronenberg. Both of them were kicked to the week of the 20th, or that Friday release of the 20th this month. And not to spoil it, but we were going to do another Wheel of Movies episode that week as well. Unfortunately, that's gotten out.
Vin was very excited about the Wheel of Movies. He's got something in his holster for me.
Something.
we have 2 to add each, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we gotta break out the asset. We bought it. Where is it? I'm looking around the room.
It's right behind you. I see it. It's right next to John. He's keeping it safe for us.
Right next to John.
It would be nice if we did 2 to 3 Wheel of Movies a year.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be nice. But we pack in these weeks, but it just fell. It was too perfect. How could we not do this?
Yeah.
It literally fell on our laps. And like everything, we just stumble into these great ideas, I guess.
But a really enjoyable week. I mean,
I watched everything, every second.
Awesome. That's awesome. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I was going to make it, especially watching the show.
You watched the show first, correct?
Yeah, I just binged it.
Okay.
All 10
I went
episodes.
in order.
Really?
Yes, like a good boy. I was really excited.
Probably for the worst.
I was excited. I don't know. I was excited for Mitchum too.
Yeah, true.
But we'll talk about the show. I mean, it also had buzz. One, it's Cape Fear, but you also had Scorsese executive producing it.
Yes.
And was Spielberg attached or no?
I think so.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a couple names pop up in the credits that surprised me.
So this had juice for a little while.
Yeah, Javier, obviously being Max Cady,
Give
is
him a
like,
psychopath.
okay, yeah, great.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Sure.
I would like to see the word count of how many times I heard Max Cady this week, though.
You're gonna have a word count of how many times I say Max Cady this week. But yeah, there was a lot there that interests me. I just think watching these all together really illuminates what kind of pitfalls and stumbles the show comes across. In just the nature of stretching a very tight, simple revenge story and stretching it into 10 episodes of prestige television content, hour-long episodes,
Yeah, that 10, it's that 10. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If it was 8, I could see it. If it was 6, that would probably be perfect. But
I think 6, it would punch a lot more.
And it's just interesting, especially coming off of the first 2, the pacing of the first 2 and how quick we actually get into things. Of course, we're going to get into that, but I don't know. It's kind of bold to make a long miniseries.
Yeah, I agree.
But we'll get into that. We will be finishing up. We're giving a proper review first time, not just a tangent little. You know what I mean? Watch.
We may have a couple stumbles.
Don't sleep on Deadliest Catch. You know what I mean? We're really going to sink our teeth in this one.
Don't sleep on it. That's coming next.
Yeah,
it's coming next. Maybe we could do what? A Perfect Storm. What are some boating crab movies?
Yeah, there's not a lot of crab movies, are there?
Yeah.
That's a shame. Maybe that's a niche. Maybe that could be our angle in the industry, man. Some crab movies, yes?
Bring Mike Rowe on the show.
Let's first... I could probably get a hold of him sometime.
We could... Just like the internet as a whole, has Mike Rowe's number. They're a step away from contact.
So this week all stems from a book that came out in 1957, a novel called The Executioners, which, what a good...
Yeah,
that's pretty solid.
Absolutely.
We should. Oh, why did we not? We should have read the book.
Maybe.
We could have had a whole new. We had a book,
10-hour-long episodes,
a book review, movie review, and show review. Phenomenal. But no, it all stems from this. Everybody puts it in the credits. It's all stemming from the novel The Executioners.
Yes.
From John D. MacDonald. So.
And it kind of becomes interesting of the chain link effect that choices in the writing from adaptation to adaptation do. From what I understand, this original Cape Fear 1962 is the most faithful to the Executioners.
That's what I was reading too.
Especially when it comes to violence and when it comes to the TV show, a lot of the modern touches they throw into that to craft Max Cady's modern prison experience. So.
And they got to stretch it out.
Yeah.
So, but no, it was interesting going back and watching that first. I had never seen a single second of it. You know what I mean? It's been quite some time since I watched Scorsese's Cape Fear.
Yeah.
It really has been a while. It might have been with you years ago.
Sure.
Pre-even couch days with the daily ratings. Really excited to return to that, especially just knowing the score on the site as well. So, yeah, watching that first. I mean, should we just jump back and get started? Do you have opening notes?
No.
Okay, so it is Cape Fear. It is 1962. It's great. It's an hour and 46 minutes. So I was happy to see that. And from the top...
Less than 2 episodes of the show.
One thing that I liked about it, which I thought was definitely a purposeful choice, was... It's in black and white, but it is 1962, which color is in full throttle.
Yes.
It's the same year that Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. And John Ford very purposely made that black and white in 62.
Yes, great call. Purposeful in its choice of black and white. And we've touched on this before, even maybe in that Liberty Valance review of where certain directors were... kind of line in the sand that they didn't want the change for different reasons or respecting black and white. I feel like Liberty Valance and this great cases for choosing black and white as a stylistic choice.
That's what I'm saying. It really purposefully done. Art director J. Lee Thompson, I don't know if you had a chance going through his IMDb.
He's got a lot.
This man worked almost every single year from 1953, I believe, to 1989.
Wow.
He missed a few years, but also in some of those years, he had 2 and sometimes I think 3 movies come out one year. This man worked his ass off.
Yeah.
And known for a few things. Cape Fear, obviously one of the most for sure.
Yeah, the only other one I recognize was Guns of Navarone.
Yeah, which came out the year before this.
Yes, in 61. That movie has actually been on my list for some time just because the soundtrack's incredible and Tarantino rips it off in Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pulls from Guns of Navarone.
That's a big name. We should maybe cover it soon. I like that as back-to-back. He was on a heater.
Yeah.
Maybe did we do like what did we just do a great war movie? What did we do?
Yeah,
Battle
like-
of Algiers.
Or like Great Escape, just that whole era of 50s, 60s, post World War II type of heroics.
That would kind of be cool.
Yeah.
But regardless, this is Cape Fear. Our main leads, our child star here playing Nancy Bowden, Laurie Martin. We have our wife, Polly Bergen, playing Peggy Bowden, Robert Mitchum playing Max, Katie, and Gregory Peck playing Sam Bowden. So.
Man, Gregory Peck. I was almost laughing at Gregory Peck on screen just because he's just like, man, this guy is so serious and such a classic actor. It's almost unreal that someone like that walked the earth. Like he's so like not stuck up, not in a bad way, but like wow, he has a presence.
Can I say I kind of wish he was in North by Northwest?
Ooh, interesting.
I would like to see it.
Yeah,
not throwing too much shade
kind of
at.
Similar. Maybe he would be a little awkward in the not the comedy, but like the charisma that character has in North by Northwest.
Oh, are you kidding me? Gregory Peck's got charisma, and honestly enjoyed. I couldn't wait to see him. We haven't touched Gregory Peck all that much.
Yeah, no, true, very true.
So a joy to jump in. I'm sorry, Cape Fear, 1962. Vin, set it up. Take it away.
Well, on the same note, a movie that's well overdue, just to get both on the site, but also feed my new obsession with Robert Mitchum, our new obsession with Robert Mitchum. Like I might have commented on in our review, I originally thought Night of the Hunter was essentially kind of a proto-version of this, especially around the twisted religious swagger I knew Max Cady for from the remake in 91. But surprisingly, that's an aspect that is pretty much only found in the 1991 remake, with the focus of this film being exclusively on how our villain dances around the law, dances in the gray area of the law. And I feel like is, out of the bunch this week, probably the smartest just because it's so focused on that law aspect. Honestly, I was also a bit nervous covering this because I've loved the Scorsese remake for so long. I just wasn't sure how this was going to hit. You know what I mean?
Of course, that's fair. It's 1962.
Yeah. I mean, to the point that, like, I thought, part of Max Cady's identity was, like, crazy religious tattoos and
right. Oh,
kind of twisting that.
Yes.
Not at all the case in this one.
And I'll tell you what's even shocking, too. I mean, there's a 31-year difference between original Cape Fear 91, and we have way more than a 35-year-old difference from 91 to now for the show, which is kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, stepping back, well, get it. I'm excited to hear what you thought about it.
Well, Cape Fear 1962 is a pulp psychological thriller, and I don't know. I wrote the word legal drama. It doesn't quite fit right because it's not really a drama. Maybe legal thriller, where the loopholes in the system play into the twisted revenge that's in store for our family. All three of our entries this week, like we talked about already, date back to 1957, based off the novel The Executioners. But once again, what I understand of this first adaptation is really most faithful to the book, especially where Scorsese takes it with hyperviolence, and where our new movie takes it with a mix of priorities on kind of a social approach and tech and a lot of stuff over 10 episodes. Gregory Peck stars as Samuel Bowden, a Southern lawyer whose life is defined by success and a loving home life. He's built with the contributions of his courtroom track record. However, on a hot Georgia day, Sam is visited by a ghost 8 years from the past. He might not remember him right off the bat, but Max Cady is more than real and taking a gander at his family with jealous eyes of what could have been for himself. Max Cady has plenty of time to study law in the can, and in order for him to enact revenge, he must match the legal mind of his prey, operating once again in the gray areas of the law to close in on his target. But Max is defined by his violent manipulation of those around him in a way that the law can only react to, and a type like that is an animal you can only deal with one way. So what does Sam reckon 8 years is worth? Apparently a price great enough to consider killing a man to get him off his back. I thought Pretty good-looking film for 1962,
Mm-hmm.
Especially how shadows were used to kind of amp up the fear in a lot of scenes. I was looking at this interesting, if anything, right off the back of our Hitchcock study and wrapping up our Hitchcock study this year of how thrillers, proto-thrillers, Hitchcock wannabes, rip-offs, all of that kind of swirls in a stew of a type of genre that will grow until the 90s, where it kind of reaches its peak, and what we'll talk about, obviously, with Scorsese's remake. There's just a lot of great shots here. Early on, there's a slow chase sequence with Katie that's presented only at waist height, with loud footsteps coming closer and closer. By modern standards, might not have been the scariest, but was really great to see as an early thriller. That scene really sticks out to me, and also kind of waist height because it's the perspective of the daughter for Bowden.
It's really the fun part of doing the podcast and going back to some of the older films, because just that initial thought of you had stepping into it, oh, am I going to like this? Like, I like the original.
Right.
But when you go back and you find something that you really love, even though something looks dated, sometimes it still hits in a whole new kind of way, watching in a modern era, and this is that case.
Yeah, absolutely.
For a lot of this film.
Yeah, there was an appreciation of these proto-thriller aspects of what they're trying to kind of nail down.
The simplicity can almost be nice to be watching.
Absolutely. Throughout this movie as well, we get a lot of voyeur-style shots where we just see eyes behind something, watching a character through it. Again, not the most groundbreaking thing in the world, especially after something like our De Palma study that talked about a lot of those type of voyeur shots, but still really nice. Without a doubt, though, the choice to have this film in black and white plays so much into the finale specifically, where the last, I want to say, maybe 20 minutes, the entire visual language of it is all around shadows. It's all around shadows once they get to Cape Fear, and that it kind of becomes the sole source of tension building up that scene, which is very interesting. Really interesting to watch. And again, I was paying attention especially because by that point in the story, the 91 remake gets so insane and so crazy. I was just curious how they would do it in the early 60s.
And just going off the book.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There's nothing else to play off with.
Yeah, right. There's not even others in the genre that it's really playing off of, so very interesting. Anything else that stood out to you, kind of with this black and white stuff?
No, I thought it was a good I was kind of surprised when I first turned it on. I was like, oh, it's black and white. Okay. Again, very purposeful. And I just assumed I was going to like it knowing what we're getting. And watching Mitchum with this, getting Night of the Hunter is black and white. I'm cool. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Some of the stages, or some of the blocking was very good in the film. Like, I don't know. I was totally enjoying myself just watching it as a good-looking film in a lot of different ways, as proto as it might be. But and then when you have, especially these two, Mitchum and Peck going at it, I was thoroughly enjoying myself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because Mitchum is so sharp and oddly eloquent.
I called him the sly psycho.
Yeah, absolutely. That's Max Cady.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because there's an attempt to match the mental level of who he's going to hunt.
Because he is sophisticated.
Yeah.
He just has an inner psychopathy to him as well.
Right. What's interesting is he's always described as narcissistic online. I was just like, yeah, I guess he is.
No, for sure he is. Yeah.
But there's something there that, to your point about like the blocking and whatnot, it adds to the menace of this character. If anything, my example of the scene of that shot at waist height is a good example of the blocking of where
when he's in the bar, when he's in the crowded bar too, I always like how that's set up. When he's like checking out that one girl.
Yes. Yep.
Just like there's just people in the way, but the way it's I don't know, purposeful, great. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, though, this has less to do with the twisted religion that I kind of identified with the character, and more to do with like hardcore law than ever. And I think there's a certain purity in that still makes this worth checking out, despite. I'm strongly in the belief that the 1991 remake is like cream of the crop when it comes to this.
Yeah, you love that film.
Yeah. There's something here that its focus on making Katie a character that understands and almost sees a path in front of him of how to target the family through the gray areas in the law is really interesting, because with that as the sole focus, you can really tune into like, oh wow, that's really how they went about that back in 1962 or even 57 when this was written.
It almost seems very possible that this could be happening.
Exactly.
Where obviously Scorsese's just really amps things up on all levels.
Yes, yeah. And while I assumed while they were making this with Robert Mitchum that they just would have looked at Night of the Hunter as like a villain performance and said, hey, let's add a little bit of that here too, it's really not there.
Well, you're right, it's not there.
Yeah.
But I do think it's there in other ways. When you're 15 minutes into the film and you realize how he's going to be playing it, which is smoother and slicker and a little bit more sly, I will say they give you a few scenes that allow him to bring out the psychopath.
Yes.
And even there's that weird one at the marina where he's kind of checking out Peck's daughter, who's like unbelievably young. And he says something and it's like, this guy is insane. Like it really, I bought into the menace.
Yep.
Of course, he wants kind of a one night stand with a woman, and where that thing goes, I think they pepper it in there. They allow him off the leash once in a while, and we get that great villain that kind of we saw in Night of the Hunter, even though it's a very different character.
I know what you mean too, because there is a predatory aspect with that villain. That's where it's kind of shared.
Because turning this on again, 1962. Okay, how creepy is this going to go? Or is this going to be softer?
Exactly why I was kind of nervous.
But in those few moments, they don't really let up. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
The menace is there.
For sure. I also think the law spin of this feels led by Gregory Peck.
Love it.
Probably being, in history even, the more valuable, draw for this film. This comes out the same year as To Kill a Mockingbird. Interesting kind of that they're,
Gregory Peck won 1962.
Yeah, for real.
Oh my God. I didn't realize it came out the same year.
Yeah, same year.
Good job, Peck.
I don't know. Credit to maybe his agent of saying, like, we need law films only. Law-driven films. But, there's a really interesting match of Peck's character that, I don't know, was unique to this in the way that it felt more than ever like a character you really want to root for against the psycho.
Yeah.
Much more of a hero, even though he's muddy, but nowhere as muddy as Nick Nolte in Scorsese's remake, and nowhere as ass as Patrick Wilson in the show.
Oh, we'll get into Patrick Wilson later. Don't worry.
You just texted me Patrick Wilson.
That's it.
And I just said just the worst. Just the worst.
Okay, I want to just stay on Gregory Peck here.
Oh, sure.
I just think it's such good casting. The fact that they got this guy, again, we have not covered Peck. I don't know. Have we covered him at all?
I don't think so. No, and I think, honestly,
251 episodes. It's insane. It is. It's insane. I think that
kind of a blind spot for me, though. I mean, I've maybe seen Kill a Mockingbird in like school or some shit like that.
Yeah, there's also a lot more to see with him as well. Well, if you think about it, we saw him twice this week because he's also in 91.
Right.
So, but anyway, okay. So, it was such a joy to see how fast the pacing of the movie really goes and how we get into things. It's not just that Max Cady is on his heels immediately. What I really like when typically, you know how movies can be, especially in modern day, where you have someone doing the chasing. Just dumb logic is there, and it's even the same thing with the horror thing. Of why are you trapping yourself in the closet? Why are you getting into the car and there's no keys and you have to go? Why are you going back in the house? This almost immediately. Gregory Peck is like, I have to remedy this issue. I'm immediately calling the sheriff. I'm getting on top of this, literally immediately. And I just love to see it. There was so much logic on both sides. No one was being purposefully an idiot.
Right, for plot convenience or anything like that.
And to have Gregory Peck, obviously try to keep it together for the family while losing it at the same time, but always being like, what's the next step? How do I get the law involved? What can I do to remedy the situation? To do that from the jump and immediately problem solving, and the chief... I was like, oh, I'm going to like this movie.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to like this movie now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real quick, do you know when you just see an actor and you're just comfortable with him?
Is that Gregory Peck?
No, you could just have a beer with them,
Okay.
but also like if he's in the movie, I'm cool. He's gonna like elevate it somehow.
Okay.
I like the chief, the actor Martin Balsam.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
He just pops up every now and again. He's in a few
like
roles
westerns?
that we covered. I don't know if he's in much westerns,
But older stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He also ends up playing. It's great what Scorsese does. So in this very short courtroom scene in
Yes.
91, where you get Gregory Peck come back defending Katie, he plays the judge.
Yeah.
The chief of this film plays the judge then.
Yep.
So of course the Mitchum return as well. But anyway,
Yeah, the callbacks, the cameos in the 91 remake.
out of respect, like total respect,
Exactly.
Scorsese was showing.
Because actually, Gregory Peck is a perfect example. It's a drastically different character. He plays like this, like Southern colonel, like I do declare type of character.
Defending the bad. He looked great, by the way.
Completely different than his character in this. So it's pretty interesting.
But pop my head. Martin Balsam. No, so he was in this. He was in Psycho.
Oh, okay.
He's in 12 Angry Men.
Oh, nice.
But he's just like little things pop up, and for some reason, I'm always comfortable with him on screen.
That's great.
But that was anyway. Gregory Peck being the law guy, great casting, and the way it's written is so great. How quick they get into it and actually try to be smart about it.
Yeah, and also the variance between these characters, the room between the moral high ground and the psychotic, stalking.
Yeah.
It's never been bigger because the moral side of Gregory Peck's character is really like upheld so much in this one. He's not nowhere near as messy and complicated as they try to make Sam Bowden later on in adaptations. For better or worse. I mean, I think both are kind of valid.
Yeah, I kind of was digging how different they are. Yeah. Because you can really enjoy both these films.
Yeah, absolutely. Mitchum's performance here, love his depiction of Max Cady.
Okay.
A match of cunning and cocky while still kind of retaining the outburst of violence that I think is needed to really like sell the character. He's not just a victim of the system or, there is something monstrous to him, and his unique manner of speaking just kind of translates perfectly to pull you in as an interest as you watch. Doesn't have as many iconic lines as De Niro, I would say, in the head-to-head. I love the little scene where he says, "Hey, Buster."
No, please do it. No, you were killing it right there.
"Hey, Buster, you got some salted peanuts in the shell?" No, not in the shell. Okay, forget it. It's just like why? It's so ridiculous. All over just like Cape Fear as a property are just like little wonderful lines that they give Max Cady. Just to show like some weird, like, I don't know, some lesson he learned in prison or how he's just a true psycho.
Right, exactly.
Just classic. Right. And Mitchum like thrives in that. I mean, I would say even Mitchum is an interesting character in the remake, like Gregory Peck, just like a total opposite version of what he has to this. But he plays the sheriff, or is it the sheriff?
I kind of get
prison owner.
I kind of get confused of his character. I don't think it's prison owner.
Okay.
But I do think it's someone in the police force.
Yeah.
We see him in the beginning, and then I think he talks to him. Bowden talks to him later on the phone, but he kind of disappears then.
He does.
Which I don't love.
But we do get that moment where he's just like, "Well, I apologize all over," or something like that. Like it's just like,
he's got swagger. We talked about it in Rio Lobo. No, not Rio Lobo. El Dorado.
Yeah, El Dorado. Man, I mean, Mitchum, what a gem. What a true gem.
I'm glad you're still enjoying it, because next I think we got to do the Friends of Eddie Cole.
Okay, that's something that he's in.
Yes, and
what would you say is Mitchum's most iconic performance?
He has a few, because he was such a big actor in the time. Like he was one of those kind of guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Oh my God, you saw him. He was in that Johnny Depp movie, the black and white one?
Yes. I recently came across that as well. Dead Man or whatever it was called.
Because we covered that on a podcast.
Yeah. Weird Western, psychedelic Western. But honestly,
he was definitely older.
Yeah,
I think he died a year later.
Yeah, for sure.
He was also in The Longest Day. He is, definitely The Night of the Hunter and Cape Fear for sure.
It has to be Night of the Hunter for me. Because, just like he's the man. Wow.
He's in a lot.
Yeah. If there was another movie to rewatch this week, it was Night of the Hunter. I'll tell you that much. And talk about in the DNA of each other. Like, wow. Mitchum is also able to turn on the violence in terrifying ways that I don't know, kind of are played back in a classy type of way. This coming out in 1962, it's nowhere as gory, it's nowhere as violent and really hyper-violent when it comes to Scorsese's film. Yeah, there's something here that, like, he is able to flip on a switch to make himself a lot more terrifying, and I think, unfortunately, it kind of revolves around him just losing his shirt. Which in the movie poster alone, I expected to include some prison tattoos or some sort of religious imagery once again. But, he might be more than a man when he takes off his shirt. There's something, like, I'm not saying this in like an attractive way.
Animalistic.
Yes, exactly. This is a transformation he has in the character, that Mitchum kind of bakes something into the performance that all the menace flips on all of a sudden.
Yeah.
He almost loses the
It's like Ryan Gosling in Drive. Only it's earned in this film, in my opinion.
Yeah. There's something there that he's just like, he loses the game. He loses the mask of trying to be, intellectual and whatnot. He becomes his true self. My last note, obviously, is around music. I knew I loved Bernard Herrmann. I knew I loved this score for how it fuels the identity of every adaptation of Cape Fear.
Yeah, they always give it love.
Yeah, but I did not know how perfectly this would still fit into the original. This is basically a hidden Hitchcock movie because of the score alone, and at least a really good knockoff of that.
Not a knockoff, it's great.
Yeah. Right.
Bernard Herrmann, for God's sake, you know what I mean?
It's so good, so good. The violins have this sinking fluttering to them, this sinking flutter that, man, it just swirls in like a downward descent of bringing these characters into the mud. And I feel like that's something that will really grow in the 91 adaptation, but is seriously some of my favorite movie music of all time. And it was just great to see it in the original film. I feel like there's so much to love on that note of, like, this original film was not completely eliminated by further adaptations. There's still a lot of value to go back and watch this and check this out. And I think that's ultimately what I was fearful of, that this movie would be somewhat irrelevant as an adaptation because of further adaptations and just what the 91 version is clocked up to. I'm very happy to say that wasn't the case. And there are multiple, if not a full handful, of reasons to check out this original, especially if you haven't before, like myself. With that said, we're going to go ahead and give Cape Fear 1962 a 75.
Okay, a 75%. That right there is a very good, that is a grade A, very good film.
Hell yeah.
Classic 75%.
Absolutely.
I love that you liked it so much, and I think we're both, you could tell our positivity of it is part of that surprise of, this is worth it.
Yeah.
It is worth a watch and worth not forgetting about when you do have the new Apple series and, of course, the Scorsese one.
Mm-hmm.
So, really great. I'm half tempted to give it a 2 shoes, but I got to tell you, I'm really happy with the 75%. Really happy that we added it. And it's an hour and 45 minutes. Like, how great is that?
Absolutely.
And it should be, by the way.
And then what is 91 clock in that? That's still under 2 hours, yeah?
2 hours, 8 minutes.
Okay.
It's a little bit longer.
A little bit longer.
Yeah. But, okay, it's fantastic. 75% for Cape Fear 1962. It's on AMC+. It's on Prime as well, so get it where you can. Let's jump forward here. So it is 31 years ahead. 1991, I'm almost shocked that this film came out and it's as good as it is. I mean, we're a year past Goodfellas.
Oh,
I mean, not Goodfellas is 90. 91, we get Cape Fear already?
Unreal.
And this performance?
Unreal.
I mean, this peak De Niro giving a shit more than basically anyone ever has as far as character development and what they put in to a character.
Yeah.
Right here in 1991. So.
I love that. He really does give a shit more than anyone.
It's fantastic. It's before all the Nobu stuff and the restaurants and you know what I mean? I mean, this is great. This is just so good.
Yeah.
1991, rated R, 2 hours and 8 minutes, set up, 91 Cape Fear.
Well, Tom, we got to be careful. If I keep on watching these movies I really like, I may not want to go back to watching normal movies. We might just be covering the 80s and that's it. Right. Covering the anything 80 and above on the podcast. This is the remake with so much shock in store for you, though. The choices and details Martin Scorsese develops for this remake remake are incredible. And to follow up Goodfellas with this in a kind of awkward period, mid-90s for his directing, still adds to my enjoyment of this film quite a bit. And in so many ways, this has always been a movie that made me want to make movies. This is a movie I remain in awe of, mostly because of the balls Scorsese had to pull off just so much in this movie. Like, constantly you're hit with scenes that are wild and scenes that are directed wildly. My appreciation of this is everything to do with my love of Max Cady as a villain, of the story, of the kind of the intersection of law and crime, key to Cape Fear, and I would imagine all the way back into the Executioners. But really, 91 stands above so much because Scorsese is unhinged in his directing. No one told him no, and I mean, I could imagine some people watching this movie and maybe be turned off by how much is thrown into you. Again, this has always been a movie that has inspired me to want to make movies because of how wild it is.
I got to tell you, jumping into it, because it's been so long since I've seen it, and then coming off the more a little bit, safer 62 version.
Slightly.
It was the speed of this. It was the directing style of Scorsese.
The dialogue's breakneck.
I've seen him be quick before, and he can move. Scorsese moves a lot, and it's a ride to be on with watching his films. This was on a whole new level. Yeah. Shocking at first, and then sinking in, like, give it to me, please. I can't tell you how much I would want to fund whatever I have to do to fund Scorsese to make a racquetball film. It is some of the most. It is. A 10-second racquetball scene in this film is more electric than any scene in the 10-episode miniseries.
Oh, that's a great point.
I mean, it's unreal.
That's a great
I was
point.
on the edge of my seat. Like, let's go. Are you kidding me? I am ready to watch this movie.
It is good. Also, so 90s, early 90s, go to a racquetball club.
But it's that and the cuts and just the movement. Like, wow.
Yeah. Wow,
and I think he's done with the Coke days. I mean, he's cleaned up his act. And
right. This feels
he's high on life right now.
This feels like Henry Hill's heroin arc in Goodfellas exclusively for the entire runtime. You know what I mean? So, really wild. A joy. And again, I just can't stress enough. I mean, it's rewatching this, I was like, wow, there is a way to make a movie that is, I don't know, maybe forgotten entirely. You know what I mean? Cape Fear 1991 is the remake psychological thriller about the gray areas of the law, juiced up, mainlined with pulpy slasher elements that take this over the top, specifically to the top of a decade where the thriller genre reached its peak. And I mean that. Despite this coming out in 1991 as the start of the decade, I can really only think of one or two other movies to outdo it in the entire genre that the 90s was so attached to, getting these like psychological thrillers. We see the thriller really infect so much in the DNA of 1990s films, and really, this remake of Cape Fear, again, only one or two. Maybe I'll throw Silence of the Lambs in there. Beyond that, I really can't think of something that really tops it for what it's going for and how thrilling it truly is, living up to the genre name. Our story begins once again with Samuel Bowden, this time played by Nick Nolte, a Southern lawyer with plenty of skeletons in his closet, but looking plenty successful on the outside with his wife and daughter. Bowden has been known to bury a few secrets or two in his slimy career, but one particular secret he didn't bury nearly deep enough. The narcissistic rapist Max Cady was accused in Sam's time in Atlanta back in 1977, and now, 14 long years later, he appears as a shadow stalking the Bowden family. How could this possibly be the illiterate and barbaric monster he once defended, though? Max Cady now matching the counselor's intellect in more ways than one, especially when it comes to dancing between the laws that locked him up in the first place. However, Sam just can't leave Max alone because he knows the damage he could do if he was let free, and boy, oh boy, does he makes things so much worse by trying to recage the animal that only hunts his family. What can we say about Bobby Money? What can we say about Bobby Money? Robert De Niro is pure menace on screen. Period.
Yeah.
End of review. Pure menace on screen. Folks, if you listen to how I stress crafting a villain on screen, a shade of perfection, maybe not absolute perfection, but a shade of perfection is found in this version of Max Cady. The fundamentals of building menace for the audience, not telling but showing the evil for our own eyes, and never diluting the focus when our villain can get their hands dirty themselves. It's all right here in 1991. I mean, it's really like...
It's crazy. He is the supreme agent of chaos. He is the Joker, like, completely. And you're right, the showing of it and just the domino effect of how much worse it gets. That little thing that you said there where he tries to put him back in the cage, and it's the worst thing he could possibly try to do.
Yep.
Because the chaos that ensues is insane. I mean, I talked about that marina scene where he's going after Gregory Peck's daughter. And in this one, even Juliet is a little bit older, I think, or at least she kind of appears older, Juliette Lewis. But still, it's just like, man, this guy is the creepiest, worst person I ever. Like, what the horrible vibes coming off this guy.
All-time villain.
And the increase and the doubling down, it continues to reward you, and it doesn't stop.
Yeah. Absolutely. He's so sharp in this, and right away it highlights how Mitchum's focus, operating in these like legal gray areas and almost like kind of tiptoeing closer to his prey, is grown into more of a blood-fueled revenge. I feel like letting the audience see and feel the longer 14-year duration in prison is a key piece that amps this up. And just how so many moments are designed to reveal the true terror of that Sam is dealing with, this backstory is drip-fed to build on our understanding of Max Cady. I feel like it's something that I have a real issue with the Apple TV show of how they reveal certain degrees or details of the menace on screen, the menace to this character. Sometimes they stumble with that. Sometimes it's just like they're doing the same scene, but it's misplaced and makes you ask, like, well, did they understand the purpose of that scene in the first place? Really, this movie and the script is so conscious of how we understand Max Cady and how we understand the true terror that Sam knows from the very beginning, but then kind of are parallel with him side by side to get that reveal, and so satisfying because of that. A brilliant detail added to this is having Cady being an idiot originally. Illiterate, they say. So letting our imagination run wild with the monster we see before us, teaching us how himself, reading law books is one thing. But it's everything from the Bible to children's stories that kind of composite such a terrifying psyche to this character. It's if anything, it's the childlike understanding of that. He in 14 years he made his own education. It's that education without guardrails, and that education to craft whatever narrative is playing in the psychotic brain of Max Cady that makes that detail so compelling. And honestly, I could listen to De Niro do this character all day long.
It's insane.
All day long.
It's insane. He's so
Counselor,
good.
do I look destitute to you? Like, he's so sharp and
he's locked in.
Yeah,
he did a lot. I mean, his body weight that he had to deal with. He just got shredded for this film.
Shredded is right.
He spent thousands of dollars with his dentist to mess up his teeth a little bit. He had he did a bunch of research. His research that he went into it, I know his character development was huge, and reading about religious extremism. I mean, he really went deep for this one, and man, it just totally pays off on screen.
Yeah,
it's wild.
Absolutely. And again, it's drip fed to us in understanding the real scope, or I should say the real depth of how psychotic this character is.
Yes, you feel uneasy immediately.
Yeah. I think the tattoos and the imagery of those tattoos and what they tie into, and the storytelling ultimately that happens of like they're maybe not they're not holding your hand to make the conclusions of what his 14 years was like, but you can certainly, it's not a stretch of the imagination to imagine, the sources of these different tattoos and their origins. Really amazing. And again, the twisted religious angle of this version of Katie was something that I thought was more key to the character as like a fundamental. In ways, it makes me think that 1991's Cape Fear is the real doubleheader with Night of the Hunter, and I'll kind of stick by that because, like,
that's good.
That's the quality of both of these films.
Yeah.
But how this swirls together, law and religion, these bedrock aspects of civility, funneling into Katie's psyche, and how he sees himself as this psychotic holy avenger. It's just absolute perfection. Absolute perfection. So great. Like, again, I feel like I've talked about some key moments of like where I've talked about like, what plays into a successful villain for me, what plays into like, I go back to the no henchman line in One Battle After Another. And it's like, this is kind of where this is born. Like my appreciation of the villain on screen.
You want him to be present.
Exactly.
You want him to be the one doing.
And the only source. Don't dilute the source.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this is one hell of a source. So
I gotta say, because it's such a ramp up from the 62 version, I kind of like how different it is because it does give you the option to enjoy both.
Absolutely,
you can be in the mood for one and not the other.
Yeah,
and it totally makes sense
for sure. Because I would even say
it's so turned up.
Some of the craziness of this movie maybe even deserves a little bit of a trigger warning, especially towards the end. The end deals in a lot of miserable moments that it's just like, this
crazy.
This is a lot to deal with. So in ways, I feel like the story can still hit in the 62 version, not by being watered down, but by just having a slightly different focus.
It's crazy how they both do it, but in totally different ways.
Yeah.
Can I just say how much I wasn't expecting this, how much I loved it the entire film. I almost enjoyed watching Nick Nolte just as much as Robert De Niro.
I agree. He's so good at it.
He's unbelievably good.
Yeah.
Like, Nick Nolte, I was just saying, oh my God, we need more Nick Nolte. We need more Nick Nolte. Where is he? I mean, he's still kicking. He's still doing small parts here or there.
Yeah.
But man, give me more Nick Nolte because he's crushing it right here in 91.
Really he really is.
Truly a great lead to kind of ground ourselves with. Again, a very much a more gray character than Gregory Peck.
Right.
But it works. It's already seedier. It's already darker and weirder.
Yeah.
And to have him losing his mind, but still it's hard not to root for him.
Yes.
When you're going across, this guy's Max Cady, De Niro's Max Cady. I don't know. I really was shocked of just how much I was digging Nolte in this.
Absolutely. I think it's the muddier aspect of the character. It's also a little bit of like what's the legal landscape that this guy exists in as a professional. And I feel like a lot of moments in the script highlight that. There's this gray area that Katie operates in. There's also a reality that the law should be able to help, but his character in this being so muddy and kind of being cynical creates a new version of that, a new reality to that, and a scary reality because he's ultimately helpless.
Right.
So,
God, his acting was great.
Yeah.
He really was. He was crushing it.
Really great. Really great. I'll get into my favorite scene with him in just a second.
Okay.
But like I said at the start, Marty is as unhinged as Max Cady in this, in his directing style. Like, I don't know who let him have all this, just like across the board. This has just some of the most insane camera angles ever put into a movie, and I love it to death.
Beautiful.
We got De Palma style split diopter shots. We got shots in negative, crazy mirror shots in Katie's sunglasses. We got more crooked Dutch angles than the goddamn Netherlands. Like, seriously, I lost count of how many diagonal shots are thrown into this movie. Lost count, and I own the movie. Like a lot of must-watch films, I just have to kind of gush about specific scenes. I love the brilliance of the movie theater scene and where it's layered in the story, being pre-reveal of Max Cady to Samuel Bowden. Something that the show messes up horribly. That's kind of what I'm referring to of just like, did they understand the point of this episode? Or this, I mean, maybe some of the episodes. Right. But did they understand the point of like where to position this scene in the story? The tattoo scene revealing his tattoos when they kind of book him momentarily. It serves as exposition, but it is also the juice you want. Just one of many flip tables careening back in Nick Nolte's face, inducing kind of like further horror of just like, oh my god, this failed scheme made something so much worse. I feel like that's also Nick Nolte's character of just like, wow, just like stop, like just let the cards fall, That's really my favorite scene with him. I forget actually what precedes it. What frustration precedes it? It might have been, well, I won't go into spoilers, but Nick Nolte just slapping the wood shades, the wood shutters.
He did it twice. Scorsese shot it twice. It was hilarious.
Again and again. It's like, what a production choice to have the loudest wood shutters that he's just like smacking with the flat of his hand. Like, so good. So good. And this time around, Tom, I was dying laughing at the scene where they stay up late to try to catch Katie.
Oh. Because it was very me and you.
Talk about being very similar to...
Vin and I were in a situation at one point in our lives where we
had to house sit.
We house sat for
and there was a
very
dangerous
specific reason. Yes.
There was a little bit of a dicey element.
We were house sitting to make sure no one broke into a house. Because there was thinking that maybe this house was broken into the night before.
Yep.
So Vin and I said, all right, we'll do it, sure.
Yep.
And
I think back of that so much, and especially after watching this, I was just like, we would have gone to jail. If anything happened, we would have just gone to jail.
I don't know.
It was terrible. It was a terrible idea.
We had code names for each other, so the bad people wouldn't learn our actual names if they wanted to seek revenge against us. And we stayed up. I fell asleep. You were up for a while by yourself. There was a cuckoo clock though.
Oh yes.
That originally,
oh my God.
But it wasn't a cuckoo. It was like one of them. It was like a dog, like one of those small dog cuckoo clocks.
Yes.
And originally, we were scared shitless. We were like, "Oh my god, it's actually happening!"
It was high alert. It was the teddy bear being plucked in this.
Yes.
It was like, okay, all right, it's go time. And again, we would have gone to jail if anything actually really happened.
And nothing did happen.
No, yeah.
Nothing did happen. I think you had a gun, but it was like I think you brought you had one round.
It was
utterly useless.
I know exactly what I brought. I don't want to give too many details, but it was a joke. It was an absolute joke to think that would stop anyone.
And then we had a couple airplane bottles of booze.
Yeah, we were just kind of
go.
Right. It was the Pepto-Bismol and whiskey
was the
in this movie.
Yeah, you know what? I also remember the neighbor, the elderly neighbor, was also like a police. He was on the police force for years. He called me and he's just like, okay, I'm watching as well. You guys are in the house.
We were locked in.
He goes, how do I identify you if I see you guys doing rounds around the house? And I was like, I brought my cowboy hat for that reason. So he goes, he literally goes, how tall are you? And he's like, okay, so like 5'10" male wearing a cowboy hat. So we had it down, Nothing happened.
Yeah, nothing happened. Thank God. We would have gone to jail, no doubt about it.
The thing about staking a house out, though, or not staking a house out, protecting a house from being broken into. Yeah, you can't watch anything.
Yeah.
Because you can't watch anything.
It's truly bored.
And you have to pick a spot where you don't see in the windows,
And paranoia got to us, for sure.
Then again, we should have just been loud because who would break into a loud and
that's
clearly
a great
furnished
point.
house?
Yeah, that's a great point. This entrapment approach was problematic from the start.
Call it young and dumb. We weren't Gregory Peck. We're no Gregory Pecks, that's for sure.
Yeah, the legal angle of this was honestly troubling thinking back on that.
But you know what? That is a thing that happened.
Yeah, so, and
it
I
happens
don't know,
in this movie.
It definitely happens in this movie, and I've obviously seen this movie before then, so maybe this played into my mindset of what was happening. But really, really, like, instantly took me back to that, Tom.
That's good.
My appreciation of this rewatch, though, is all around dialogue and how there is not 1 ounce of fat on this script. Like, this is paced in a breakneck way. The dialogue is just stuff of dreams. Not only characters are as smart as a whip, but the pacing in these scenes is incredible and always uses the time so effectively. It uses that time effectively to either swirl the complexity of the past, bring up little things, and that doesn't feel like clunky exposition. It all comes up organically, usually in fights and arguments. Or that dialogue is to clock up the terror on the present. The rhythm to people talking in this is just so satisfying and just does not slack on just constantly developing the thriller to make it hit harder. I feel like to a point that every line is either geared to let's kind of muddy up the past to make this a little bit more compelling or complicated, or literally every line is aimed at the point of let's make this more thrilling. Let's make Katie more terrifying in some way. And I think when I watched this movie when I was younger, I was slightly annoyed by certain scenes of like either the family arguing or Sam losing his temper in general. But all of this I have so much respect for because it's all geared towards the thriller. And usually Sam digging a deeper grave for himself because of it, Impressive.
I know, and just the pace of it too, the way, how much it just keeps on doubling down on itself. It's part of the reason that just makes it so electrifying.
Yeah, really great. Once again, I'll end on music because this really has to be a top 10 music score for me. Maybe even top 10 all time.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
I love this. I mean,
I liked it.
To the point that probably the biggest highlight of the show was getting to hear it 10 times over for the opening. You know?
I mean, it gives love to Bernard Herrmann big time.
Yeah. Elmer Bernstein adapts this and might just be as an iconic composer as Bernard Herrmann, considering they're both working at the same time when the original was released in 1962. But what he does to adapt the original score and elevate it to new terrifying heights, I mean, frankly, it deserves as much credit as what Scorsese is doing to remake the film itself. Again, like I said with the original, the combination of sinking and fluttering melodies creates a wonderful downward spiral that you can feel for the entire runtime. And this becomes much more than just background music, however, because as the revised intensity of each side of the story plays out, this kind of mimics the same spiraling drain on what the characters are willing to do. For every new terrifying piece of information we uncover to show Max Cady's twisted dedication to his goals, we also quickly find that the morals Sam Bowden defines himself with aren't as solid as they appear and are actually pretty slippery across the board. Constantly, across all of our adaptations this week, the question of what makes Max Cady deserve less in life is posed, and if prison made the monster he came out as, but showing how low, and I mean truly low, each side of the story is willing to go matches the motifs found in the soundtrack until our characters are nothing more than two men fighting in the mud. All intellect, all civility pushed aside until there is only the blood feud that remains. We're going to go ahead and give Cape Fear 1991 an 88.
An 88%. Yes, it was on the site before. It's a big boy alert, though. Still one of the highest rated films on the daily ratings.
Yeah. That's what I said. Like, we got to be careful just watching movies I really like because I don't want to go back to watching normal movies.
It's fun watching good movies.
Fun, yeah.
It's a good time. It's almost like why we started the podcast. 88%. I mean, it's great. I love how much you love this film. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I mean, I really loved returning to this after so many years of not seeing it. And man,
and watching it chronologically. I think that's kind of interesting.
I mean, did it help? Did it not help? I again loved how different they were because you could they just work separately anyway, which is so great. But finally, we did it. We covered it. I love that we covered it. To episode 251, and it's just been sitting there for us.
It's just been sitting there for us.
Okay.
All we had to get through was an Apple TV show.
The whole thing. But before we get to that show, we want to remind people what we're doing here at the Daily Ratings and how we operate. If you notice that there's no advertising here on the podcast, Vin and I don't want to have any advertising on the podcast. It's not how we really want to do things. We also don't want to have any paywalls or payment tier structures like a Patreon, where you have to pay to play or you have to give us a certain amount a month in order to get bonus shows or bonus content, or the whole paywall thing where you have to give us money to just access things, access the podcast or access things on the site. We're not doing that. We are going off the value for value model. The whole idea is, are you finding the daily ratings valuable? Are you listening to the podcast, whether it be every week or every other month? Are you stopping by the website and checking out if a movie is worth a watch? Bottom line, are you enjoying film more now after finding us than what you were enjoying it before? That's value in your pocket, so can you send us value in our pocket? So we don't have a donation this week, but we do have a donation note from Linda Schiller, writing in, and I'm just going to let her kind of just she's kind of doing my work for me on this segment here, just to remind people how we operate. And Linda donates in every single month. She gives you a movie ticket every month.
Yes.
And I don't know. She's just kind of has a PSA here, and I'm going to read it. Thank you, Linda. She goes, "Dear Vinny and Tom, I have a message for the listeners. Like each of you, I listen to a lot of podcasts. But unlike most of you, the Daily Ratings is the only one I support with a monthly donation. And there's a reason for that. Vinny and Tom are smart, funny, entertaining."
Wow.
I promise I didn't write this.
Yeah.
I promise this was another human being writing it.
We promise Linda is not on the books.
Vinny and Tom are smart, funny, entertaining, informative, knowledgeable, and just plain great to listen to.
Wow.
They bring their own personalities and perspectives to every movie they review, and I always find myself learning so much and looking forward to the next episode. Best of all, the podcast is completely free, but as we all know, free to listeners, it doesn't mean that there are no costs involved. Hosting and producing the Daily Ratings takes time, effort, and money, and that's where you can help.
Wow.
If you enjoy the Daily Ratings,
It's the full plug.
consider the full plug. Consider becoming a producer with a small monthly donation. She says, "I did, and it couldn't be easier." I know you heard Tom say it many times. Just go to thedailyratings.com and click on that donation. She's covering all the bases here. Click on the donations tab.
Your job is done.
You can contribute any amount of money that you can afford. It doesn't have to be a monthly donation, although I highly recommend this. I'm very happy to continue to support these guys because they've created something I genuinely enjoy. If you're a movie fan, continue to listen. And if you like what you hear, become a producer. Every little bit helps, and it's a great way to say, Vinny and Tom, please keep entertaining us week after week.
Unbelievable, Linda. Again,
Check is
not
in
on
the
the
mail.
books. Right. She's paying us. We're not paying her.
Linda, thank you so much. We only get a producer note every so often from you, and boy, great PSA. And I couldn't say it better myself.
Love it.
Folks, if you're listening, that's how we're doing it here. Listener supported, producer supported, because just like in Hollywood, when you financially support a project, you're a producer of the project. So please do become a producer of the Daily Ratings. Show your support through your monetary support in your donations. It is thedailyratings.com. Head to the donations tab. And the point of value for value is there are no set amounts that you have to send in. Everybody's on their own finances. Everybody's week to week is different. Are we worth a cup of coffee? Are you enjoying yourself that much? Are we worth a cup of coffee a month? Or finances are looking pretty good, whether it be $100 or $500, $5,000. You donate in whatever you want. That's what the big value for value button right there on the donations page is all about. So thank you so much, Linda, for the PSA. Couldn't say it better ourselves, and love that we have you every month. We have Joel every month too. Really appreciate you guys enjoying it, and it's great to see more and more people listening because we can see it. So hey, if you don't have much to donate, please get the show out there. Tell people about it. You hear people talking about movies, talk about the Daily Ratings then. You know what I mean? Propagate the message, and it's just another way to continue to support us. We appreciate you all so much. It's a blast week after week. And again, please stop on by thedailyratings.com. Head by that donations tab if you appreciate the lack of ads and just the fun we have every week. With that, talk about fun. Talk about something we've never done before. We are breaking. If this was episode 250, and you said, "Tom, I think I want to cover that," I'll be like, "Nope." We are a movie podcast. We will never do that.
Post 250.
If you want to talk about a show here or there, I'll allow it. But no, this just worked out way too perfectly.
Yeah. I was super excited to crack into this because one, I like the aspect that I wasn't doing like a full review.
Just having fun with it.
Yeah, we're just kind of talking about this. I do have a rating of sorts to give that if we ever do cover TV again, and there's plenty, good TV out there to cover that we can kind of tie into movies being released. This is also something that we're tackling that has been an awkward spot on how to handle when it comes to movies released after a show. The Sopranos movie, the Breaking Bad movie, other type of tie-in movies to shows has been a very awkward thing to approach on the podcast. So getting our feet wet with this.
Well, the miniseries thing is huge because it's a miniseries.
True.
So it's once and done.
Yeah, very true.
You know what I mean?
So it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't wasn't binging a full show.
Right. Right. It was two very different things.
It was a lot of binging.
And we only had two other
I was
movies to cover
emotionally
this week.
exhausted after watching this much Apple
It was
TV.
it was a big pull. It was kind of tough to get this watched. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was a lot. So, but happy to crack into it. I have my notes kind of segmented between general casting and spoilery.
Okay.
How do you want to go about this?
I think we just tackle it however we want. I guess I'll let you set it up a little bit. I'm assuming you have a little some.
No.
Okay. We can just talk about it. Bottom line, this show was in the works for, I would say, a number of years. I remember hearing about this a while ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
A Cape Fear miniseries.
With Javier attached?
I don't know about Javier. No.
Okay.
The big pull was Martin Scorsese and Steven Spielberg. It just, that got the juices flowing. And finally came to fruition. And throughout the, I mean, again, had we just been smart, and this, again, we do stumble into things. We could have been watching the miniseries as it was coming out, so we didn't have to cram it in 1 week. That is our fault a little bit, but here we are. I don't think it totally stands alone as a miniseries. So if you just want something quick to watch, as something that you're not tied to and don't have multiple seasons to, that is an option. It is on Apple. I believe it was always going to be on Apple.
Okay.
I thought for some reason, in the early days, this had life on HBO or HBO Max. I don't know if there was a change up there, but I'm pretty sure it was Apple, because Scorsese has kind of been in the Apple camp for a little while now.
Sure.
Anyway, the classic thing of, it's not quite 10 hours of content, but it's close enough to 10 hours of content being 10 episodes. And we've made comments of how quick both these films kind of feel, how quick we get into things, and how much we're already unraveling the story.
Yeah.
So the biggest question...
Yeah, pacing has been a huge highlight of both of these adaptations.
That was the big question, at least for me walking into it. The biggest thing was, how do they actually do this? The complexities they're going to have to add to this are many. We're going to need new complex aspects to a multitude of characters,
how Katie
multiple
ties
storylines.
in. Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to have to care, unfortunately, about more characters, I'm sure, than what we really have to with the films. And then after that, that's when I get to the point of, okay, what do we get with Amy Adams, who is our main lead? What do we get with Javier Bardem, who is going to be our psychopath, Max Cady? And then the rest of the family as well, the lovable Patrick Wilson and the kids.
And the kids. So yeah, I think that's a good way, because we already summarized now twice, the setup for Cape Fear, which is really always a match between Samuel Bowden and him kind of protecting his family from Max Cady. There's a lot that swirls in the kind of the assault on his masculinity. There's a lot of don't touch my family, kind of forbidden stuff.
Right.
Here, a lot of that is altered because of how the additions and the changes that they have. The clearest cut change to recognize is actually around the family themselves. Not only is Amy Adams as the wife a lawyer, she is really the main character and the main connection to Max Cady. On top of that as well, there are entirely new characters and quite a few new characters added to this that just change the story entirely. I think a real clear-cut one without spoilers is the son. These stories have always been father, mother, and daughter. Now this is father, mother, daughter, and son. That addition of the son does more than you think of to stretch this out and add a lot more complexity to the story, for better or worse, honestly.
Very quickly on, throughout basically the first episode, especially second episode, that's what it is. I mean, walking into it, okay, how are they going to stretch it? What complexities are we going to add? And you can almost see in the writer's room of, how do we amp every single thing up? Let's not just have issues with the daughter. Let's now introduce a son, and let's have the son have some issues with Katie.
Yep.
Even the spouse usually takes a much bigger back seat when it comes to the first two Cape Fear films.
Yep.
With this, okay, now we bring in Patrick Wilson. He's not just a throwaway spouse in any way. He's also a prosecutor.
Yes.
And he's also mixed into it. Now we can have a complex storyline on his end.
Yep.
And then Amy Adams' end. And the son and daughter, how they play together. And let's also introduce some things around Max Cady more.
Yep.
So I understand the math of and the skeleton of this. You know what I mean? I really do. Expand the family, expand some of the characters, and let's make some more complexities. Let's make it more interesting, and how much can we muddy the waters?
Ultimately, and I could imagine in the writer's room, a well-intended thing, because what's the formula after more time with Max Cady, more victims to Max Cady?
More,
you know what I mean?
More.
So I think there's an approach there that I respect, and I don't think it's impossible to adapt this in a miniseries or in a show.
I think basically, and that's what it comes. Again, I get the math. I know. I don't even know how I would do things differently when you do the 10,000 foot back. Okay, what are the broad specs here?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. The problem is what are they? How are they muddying the waters? Are they muddying it enough and keeping it suspenseful and thrilling enough where they keep me on the edge of my seat and can't wait for the next episode to start? And after 10 episodes, no matter what, is the juice worth the squeeze? Are the complexities worth giving a shit about? And I think by the end of it, and I think by halfway through of it, no.
By episode 4, I was kind of like, if I did not have to do this for the review, I would have stopped watching it.
The tank starts to run out of gas.
Yeah, I probably would have watched episode 4 and then skipped right to the finale.
I almost had a notion to do that as well. Because, when Netflix ends, or Apple, the show ends, and the next episode's popping back on, and when you're not excited, when you're not really that excited, that's not what you want. So binge-worthy.
It's kind of amazing how little that happens in each episode. I was trying to, because my mom's a big Cape Fear fan, I was trying to kind of catch her up on what happened in each of the episodes, and she was just kind of curious about the story. It was just like, each episode is kind of 1 or 2 lines. There's really not a lot that actually happens.
But they do try to muddy the waters with everybody, and then it's circling around, and we're taking care of this, that, and we have to check in on this person and that person. I was shocked how boring it was, because wow, okay, you guys amped everything up. Why does it feel so much more quieter and muted and boring? And why don't I care?
Not thrilling,
Right, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I think most of this definitely just hits on why I don't really care for TV shows, and the reason why I don't watch most shows, despite there being gold obviously out there, is that it's the stretching of the story to fit 10 hours long. 10-hour-long episodes. I feel this way with original stories. Now, no less it's a story I know, it's kind of doomed to the comparison. I think the best case for someone watching this show is no experience with Cape Fear, and maybe even doing a reverse order if you watch this first and then you circle back on the 2 adaptations.
Yes. There's no getting behind it, though. I do think regardless how much you know Cape Fear or don't know Cape Fear, this slowness, the pacing, and what they offer you throughout each episode is not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough to make this feel electric and to keep you super engaged, which I think is why the excitement died off quick as these episodes were coming out.
It did. So my first big point that I have here is definitely around how they modernize Max Cady and how he's interwoven in the story. There's almost equal good and bad when it comes to this. On the good side is the narratives around prison reform and just the meditations this story as a whole has on what prison does to the character of Max Cady, what he goes in as and what he comes out as. There's a lot here that is grown specifically in a plot element of Amy Adams being part of a exoneration nonprofit that Cady gets kind of intertwined into post-release. Kind of interesting, but really waters down the menace. On the straight up bad end of this is what they do to modernize the story, including Cady involving his harassment, his villainy, and how it intertwines with tech being a tool of his harassment in some way. This was, in almost every instance, unacceptable for me. Because it really, begs the question of, okay, Cady's in prison for some time. He's self-taught. He has, this psychotic, almost demonic drive to get his revenge and take a life that he feels he deserves. All that self-teaching, all that time is absolutely believable when it comes to him reading books or self-educating and whatnot. When this harassment dips any kind of toe into drone tech, hacking, data manipulation, I feel like all of these moments really fell extremely flat for me because they're not really menacing. They're just kind of annoying. And it was just a complete betrayal of what this character is.
It wasn't enough menacing at all. And it was more just I don't even know what we would call peckering. He was just kind of being annoying for a while.
Yeah.
And I mean, again,
like, I'm not trying to discredit online harassment, but there's a very real difference of like the menace that comes from Max Cady actually harassing you.
And that's the thing where Scorsese, because he's just working for 2 hours, he could just amp it up and amp it up and you feel it. But for this, they're like, we gotta slow release this.
Yes,
and it just doesn't quite hit. And you're right about what they have to do. How he's kind of integrated back into society for a moment. It just, everything about it just falls flat a little bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Javier, so now you have that with Javier. This is what you have for this Max Cady. How do you think that he's portraying himself, at least, as Max Cady?
Tough, because I was very excited about Javier. If anything, that was the single hook for me in every aspect. I mean, it goes to Anton Chigurh. It just goes to his ability to be a psychopath on screen and, compelling to watch. I feel like it's not so much his performance. I'll get into performance and casting in just a second. Because that can kind of, we can, there's a lot to talk about.
You go wherever you want. Yeah.
But that's where this story stretching really hurts the most, because what suffers is Cady's menace on screen, his involvement with this nonprofit, most of all. Kind of interesting where you're taking the story, I'm not going to lie. And kind of interesting how he is now manipulating on a much larger macro level the social element of his perception.
You're letting the fox in the hen house.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to put it. But it dilutes the whole package. And it definitely dilutes the whole package when, this, again, tiny bit into spoilery, that Max Cady has other people doing the work for him. This was where I was like off the train completely with the show.
Right, okay.
Because it's directly in the face of no henchmen. You know what I mean?
He's got a network in this.
He's got a network in this. And there are sympathizers. And, I mean, again, there's an interesting social element there that's very real.
And you got to make it modern and,
you know, exonerees or the narrative of wrongly accused and whatnot. The social aspect of people really latching on to those personalities and whatnot. Interesting. All modern, all dilutes Max Cady and his menace on screen.
It got to the point where I didn't even need to see him on screen anymore.
Yeah, kind of.
And I was dying. I mean, the person, I hate to say this. Let's
go into casting. We got to dig into people. To specific people that are the problem. That are like really the problem with this show.
Okay. I'll stay on Javier since we were on him.
Sure. Okay.
First of all, I understand the casting. I think everybody was a little bit excited about it too. You have Anton Chigurh, one of the best psychopaths on screen ever. However, you also have to think, being him, you have to think, okay, this is already 2 properties. I need to reinvent this for a 3rd time. What is my angle here? And we're playing in the year 2026. How am I going to do this? I don't even. He kind of split the baby, in my opinion. He tried to be a little De Niro, and he tried to be a little sly psycho Robert Mitchum.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, whether he does it well, whether we just get too much of him, so it's diluted.
Also, whether it just kind of comes out in the wash as like Javier generally.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of right. Sometimes he's just Javier a little bit.
Did you expect him to do a Southern accent? Because, spoiler, he doesn't do the Southern accent.
Right. I don't know.
It's just Javier.
When I click play, I don't even know if I was cared enough to think about it.
Fair. I'm with you in like kind of just being apathetic towards that. I will say, I think I might have enjoyed it a little bit better while he's on screen if he was kind of going for a big swing. It is so much just his normal, not normal.
I mean, sometimes, if it's just the polos he's wearing. I'm like, this is like... This is just him.
This is on the Dune 2 press circuit.
Did you have any recasting ideas first? Just to wrap up.
No, because if anything, I was rooting for Javier.
Yeah, I know. It makes
I'm
sense.
With you.
The casting decision really makes sense.
Absolutely.
To that end, I do think Amy Adams makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Here's the thing about Amy Adams. I know Amy Adams is in your corner, and I still think you're holding that flag for her.
You have some beef.
I don't want to ever say anything bad about Amy Adams. I enjoy her. The problem is she is very specific. She is one type of peg, and it just fits into the Amy Adams peg. If you have that type of character, whether it be the Master, I think she as far as she can go is American Hustle, but she's so Amy Adams always.
Yeah.
And a little bit quieter, a little bit subdued.
The Master is actually an interesting comparison to this character.
Yeah, well,
for how she's really, the center of the family.
She can get very serious, and her head gets a little shaky or something like that a little bit. And when she gets serious, but she's always very quiet. And I just always, and even in Arrival, same deal. I just always see her as the same character. A little bit now. Matt Damon, I always just see Matt Damon being Matt Damon. So Amy Adams, that's what I'm saying. Where she's casted right, love her.
Sure,
love her.
Yeah,
zero bad things to say.
I mean, I would point to Arrival as the best example of her acting.
Okay. And with this, I get the casting, but again, it's not a film. It's 10 episodes. It's almost 10 hours.
Yep.
And I think it's too quiet. She's naturally too quiet of an actress. This is too quiet of a performance for the main lead up against Max Cady, who I need to see you freaking out here. I need a fallout.
You need a Nick Nolte moment where he's smacking the wood shutters.
Exactly right. Yeah. Exactly right.
Yeah. I feel like that is also, of the same tone of this is a story expansion like The Son, where there's a lot of new ground, period.
Yeah, The
new
Son,
original writing.
Actor Joe Anders playing Zach Bowden.
Yeah. And as far as Amy Adams, I like that we are kind of reversing what we expect and what Katie exploits in both films. Again, there's a attack on manhood and fatherhood in those films, so there's an entirely different flavor of manipulation here, her being a woman. But her focus on the exoneree work, the nonprofit, the folds to making this story long enough for a TV show, a lot of problems with it. It was just...
It just doesn't hit. It's not hitting. That's the problem.
Yeah, it was really... It diluted Katie, but it also just diluted everything.
I go back to... I get it. I think this could work in a series in 6 episodes.
Yeah, I like that.
I really do.
I like that. As far as Amy Adams acting, I'm with you. I'm also not falling on the sword for her in this this performance that we get. And if anything, there is a step that doesn't go personal enough, doesn't go messy enough, especially because she is a woman. The dynamic has changed. I want them to go further. I want them to go a little bit more, again, so scenes that make you say, wow, this is wild, like the 91
Yes,
version.
Of course.
So, but I don't know. Amy Adams... I just like her.
I know, and she kind of
it comes from. It's an odd crush just because she is so reserved.
Yeah, but she works as that kind of cool, comforting Southern drawl.
Yeah,
that we get with this character.
Yeah, the other side of that.
Yeah.
Patrick Wilson. Okay.
The hubby, Patrick Wilson.
Okay, Patrick Wilson is way too jokey even in times that he does not need to be jokey.
Yes.
There is a diner or a bar scene with him and Katie, and they're just palling around, and it's just this is kind of interesting in ways, but talk about deflating the tension of the scene.
Yeah, they set up Patrick Wilson to be doesn't want to commit to real feelings and kind of wants to make sure, he just wants everything to be okay.
Yeah.
So he treats everything with a alacrity. Is that a proper word or a?
I don't know. He has
a
also
lightness to it. A lightness to it.
The microdosing thread that he's dealing with trauma. I thought it was very weak how they tie that into Katie's harassment.
Very briefly, tell us about Patrick Wilson. Very, very briefly, please.
It's the worst actor ever.
Okay. All right.
No, it's our text message. You just texted me, Patrick Wilson. Literally, folks, literally nothing else. And I text back literally nothing else but just the worst.
Okay.
That was the end of the conversation. We didn't text each other after
that was it. I texted Patrick Wilson in episode 1, okay?
Oh, wow.
Of me watching.
Very interesting.
A
lot of development.
I'm not. So Patrick Wilson, I have beef with as well. I don't watch horror movies, so I'm not even the Insidious game.
Right.
Is it Insidious?
No, Conjuring. Yeah.
Right, Red Door, whatever.
Oh no, actually, and Insidious as well. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a Blumhouse rat.
I don't like him in. He ruins kind of The Watchmen for me a little bit.
Oh, that's right.
The acting in that film in general is whoa. But okay, I am not saying this to be any sort of anything. And I mean this completely.
I'm fearful.
By the end of this show, the person I was most interested in seeing on screen was Patrick Wilson. I was waiting just for him. Just give me. I got enough Javier Bardem. I got it. I got enough Amy Adams. Enough with the quiet mouse, talkie. I kind of just wanted to see because the arc. I wanted to see how this guy evolves. And
it's true. It's a lot of original content.
Not to mention, he had the look. He had the look of the wealthy prosecuting.
Very in shape.
Southern kind of gentleman douchebag guy.
Absolutely.
He actually looked the
modern
part.
professional archetype.
And I got it. So that's it doesn't go. The thoughts don't go any further than that. But
he was the one that was hooking you episode after episode.
Yes. By the end of it,
interesting.
I was most interested in him, his performance, and his character arc.
As I kind of poke fun at the whole weird microdosing plot thread with that, but I agree in the sense of like his character expansions in the story are probably the most interesting to see how they're going to tie back to Katie's manipulation and his harassment and whatnot.
And you need to give it to Amy Adams because she is the lead, but he still also can't be cucked. He still needs, he needs to protect his family still as well. He's the dad in the room.
Absolutely. Yeah, there is still that element. It does just take a back seat because Amy Adams is just the focus as like the central character.
Yeah. It's also shared more than the movies, though.
For sure.
The spouse.
It's more of a triangle when we kind of come back to, again, the actual Katie getting booked for his crimes. The part that Amy Adams' character has to play is basically Sam Bowden, but now Patrick Wilson, being the man in this, has an interesting part to play.
He's got a little Sam in him.
Yeah, it's yeah, Sam is split, basically.
Yes, exactly right.
And Sam is also split in a way of like now it's more sensitive to what gender roles have in that family. So, yeah, it just.
It's Patrick Wilson. I mean, I get it, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I know you get it. I get it, too. But interesting. I definitely agree that out of all the story expansions, he probably had the most. I just didn't know what direction it was going with.
Right, exactly.
Where I did know the directions it was going with, and really, I should have, I don't know, I mean, there's so many gambling apps now, you can bet on anything. I really wanted to kind of bet on the developments of where this was going. Boy, did I call this show again and again. It was predictable. The son and daughter are expanded elements. The daughter is just kind of on ice until post episode 5 to fall into the story beats that she normally falls into in Cape Fear. The first half is all for the son, and it unfortunately revolves around a new character addition that kind of falls into some spoilers.
It is these stuff that you can't see.
Okay, all right, then I can't. All right, then I. But the reason why I really hated the kid plot lines in this so much and thought it was just such a waste of time was, one, it was so predictable, but two, again, the circling around tech, them using tech in new ways for the harassment. I get it's a modern story. You want, different things to surprise the audience, especially for returning viewers of the franchise. This was almost unacceptable. They were so idiotic. Yeah,
I didn't love the kid aspect. As far as the two storylines go within the children, the daughter was the most interesting to me because she had her head on her shoulders, and I just like problem solving. I like that. I'm going to go back to the Gregory Peck. I like when you're on top of things and trying to be the reason in the room. And the son is just kind of on a downward spiral.
Yeah.
But it putters, stalls.
Yeah. And I think just like it really highlights where the writing I was just constantly saying the writing kind of sucks in this.
Wasn't great.
The pacing feels bad and is a far cry away from the movie adaptations. But what they do to invert the story is not worth the skin in the game because it is predictable, like I said before.
Yeah.
But also, it's also I'm sorry, not good. These weren't like moments I would say, oh, you got to see this. You know,
wasn't shocking.
Exactly. It was weak tea. So, but yeah. I don't have any names of the cast, but what did you think about some of the extended cast, like the owner of the nonprofit?
I thought she was okay.
Okay.
I didn't really like any of them.
Yeah,
I liked the guy who played Ray Rollins.
Oh, right.
When Amy Adams helped get out of prison. Now he's working within the organization.
Yep.
I would like to see more of him. I thought he had some good vibes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, an interesting character of where it's a reflection of Katie getting involved in the organization as well.
But no, I have no other notes. I mean, we should mention that Juliette Lewis does come back. That's her kind of the homage to the 91. So we have a returning character at least, as we were talking about Scorsese bringing back so much from the original cast from 62.
An excellent point. Yeah, I mean, if anything, these cameos kind of define the chain link between these adaptations, but also not in a tasteless way. I normally would call stuff out like this. I agree with that. As a little bit of an eye roll. It's not, I don't know if it's even handled tastefully, but it's just every character that they bring back in these cameo capacities are so drastically different. It's all right, you either pick it up or you don't.
It's nice touches, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll say one last thing with Javier.
Yeah, please.
Kind of circling back. What they do with Max Cady's character in this is an exchange in the ethnic roots of this. He is Southern, but he's obviously Spanish, and that's where we don't get kind of the Southern hick kind of depiction of Max Cady. But it also affects a lot of the mentality of this character, and that kind of relates to exchanging the biblical scripture that is twisted in morality for this voodoo theme to it. His tattoos are all like eyeballs, and it's much more spiritual in a different direction. I think it's important that to what's so successful about the horror of these tattoos, especially exclusively in the 91 version, is that these Christian morals are something that would be force-fed to Cady in an early education or in a prison system that then he twists through his own psyche. I don't think it's terrible that they switch it to this kind of general Aztec voodoo in its theming. Kind of cool. But it just never hit like it should, because I don't think there is the not accessibility. There's not the association that we have that comes on the back of your hand of just oh yeah, Christian morals, all right, be a good person, yada yada. You know what I mean? Where it's this Aztec voodoo or whatever it was, whatever ethnic origins it was, this voodoo, there's nothing the audience can associate to this at the snap of a at the drop of a dime to see how that's being twisted and perverted.
Yeah, it would have been nice had they worked that into the script a little bit more, and we could get something kind of crazy, or him dealing with other people or getting into that. I mean, to me, that was window dressing. So it was, we need to make him look a certain way and let's give him a vibe, and that's as far as it went.
Yeah, right. He has to have tattoos because the last one had tattoos.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
they keep on bumping up the years, too. Do you realize, as far as him being in prison, I was like, are we supposed to
what was it, 18?
I was like, are we supposed to feel this for some reason? But the first movie was 8 years.
Yep.
The second movie was 14 years, and this one I think is 17 or 18. And it's I don't know. I can't actively feel that. I don't know if I care.
Yes, it's almost too long.
Right.
Too long. He would be redeemed in some way. I would say general notes, cinematography, pretty kooky. Definitely taking
Purposely,
notes.
Yeah,
taking notes from 91. My worst episode was episode 4, by far.
Okay.
That was an actually horrible episode. Best episode, probably episode 8, for how new and old elements merge. I really did actually enjoy episode 8.
What happens on it? Okay. All right. Very good. Really blending it. That was a great idea of ranking them a little bit. I did not do that.
Yeah, just more what's the lows, what's the peaks with that.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
We can talk about a little bit of spoilers. I don't have much. I just have a kind of a tiny bit of spoilery.
Sure. Yeah, I'm ready to wrap it up whenever you want then.
He's like, I'm done with this show. I'm done talking about this show. I just think accents are kind of bad across the board. The Southern accent, it's weird to call it a spoiler. The Southern accents are
Who's even trying it other than Amy Adams?
Amy Adams, Patrick Wilson.
Is Patrick Wilson trying?
Exactly. Out of nowhere, he kind of whips it out. When he walks into a room, it fades in a millisecond. Okay. It's ridiculous. The Apple product integration sucks. There's multiple scenes where Patrick is going through horrible, Max Cady harassment, and he's doing this voice to text stuff.
Oh, it's terrible. I don't. I don't.
The amount of the Apple product integration is so. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Surprised it's not in there more.
The amount of plot points Amy Adams brings up the Apple iCloud for her investigation is
twice.
Unacceptable. No, it's unacceptable. It is real. It is how the plot progresses at certain points. I talked about how the themes of manipulation have been modernized in a lot of stuff. I think there was a real cheap thread here of hypnosis that I just did not get. Did not like.
Okay.
I did not like that as part of.
It's kind of a big thread, yeah.
Yeah, it's too loose. It is kind of a big thread.
Yeah.
It's way too loose. I mean, it's nothing of the real problem of Max Cady being a real threat. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's
just very weak. I already talked about Max Cady having henchmen in this really dilutes and spits in the face of what is the true lesson you should take away from how to craft a villain. The Sun might be the clearest cut example of that. The new stuff that it's tried, that is attempted in the show, just falls flat on its face. It's amazing how little happens in each episode. The number one issue, though, is misusing scenes, callback scenes, and not understanding how they're positioned. The obnoxious movie theater scene that is pulled from 1991 is used in such a stupid and flippant way that, one, couldn't be anything more than the production just checking a box and say, oh, we got it. We got it for the fans.
Right.
But it becomes insulting to me of how the hell did they not understand where to position this in the story, and specifically before...
This is what you were talking about before.
Yeah,
okay.
Before any reveal that Cady is back on the scene.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or any of the menace around Cady is back on the scene. Really insulting. You know what I mean? I would like to say... executive producers like Scorsese and Spielberg on this would help, right the ship in that. Clearly, it's a good lesson that, producers on shows are money, that's it.
Well, and executive producing, it all depends how involved and not involved you are.
Yeah.
Again, they just needed to sign off on some things. I agree with the 10,000-foot view of this show.
Mm-hmm.
The moment you get below that a little bit, then that's where things start to stall out, fall apart, and start to disinterest you.
Yeah.
But
so, well, I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Sans Patrick Wilson.
Now, what is... Okay, new rating score. What do we got for us here?
Okay, all right. So, introducing my only rating system for TV moving forward. It is a clear-cut pass or fail. I thought about maybe... I guess you always say boo because you know how bad this show is.
No, it's just what a bore. I mean, okay.
No, okay. I thought about growing it to...
Very black and white of you.
To 4... Well, listen, I'm not trying to kill myself on these shows. Okay. This is the easy. This is supposed to be the fun work. It is good or garbage. I thought about maybe growing it, and we'll see with future shows, of good to great, great being a little above good, and then garbage and garbaggio being something bad.
Okay. Wait, so it's between good and...
It's good and garbage right now.
Good and garbage or great and garbaggio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that would be
I was
4
expecting
degrees.
a little bit right now, but good is such like an overused. Like I feel like English teachers would hate that because it's like, well, use your words. How do you really feel?
Good or garbage?
Okay, yeah. All right.
But
I was expecting you were really bragging about it earlier. And I was expecting a little bit more than...
I didn't think it was
it's either going to be good
or garbage. All right. Sorry for overhyping.
It's great. No, it's okay. It's all right.
But no, the reason why I wanted to go out about this as like a simple pass-fail is it kind of goes back to...
But what if you love it?
That's the great. That's 4 degrees.
So you have 4 degrees. Oh,
well,
so...
yeah. We'll see. Right now it's just 2.
Okay.
Right now it's good or garbage.
Okay.
But, I got to get more under my belt. This first show.
Okay. I think it's 4 then, just knowing it. We have 4. Okay, but it doesn't matter.
Regardless, though.
I'm sorry, it's your thing.
This whole pass-fail concept is like, again, by episode 4, if I was not watching this for the show, I would have dropped it. And that's going to be a lot of shows of just like, I would have dropped this. So I feel like that is where my mind is at with the pass-fail. It's also kind of to, the heart of what we always talk about on the show of, is this worth your time? That is all the more true with TV shows because it's a lot of time.
It's a lot of time.
Exactly. And a lot of time in increments that you can probably hop off. It's not like you're on the ride, So in the first annual...
First annual?
No,
what are we locking ourselves into here?
Not another TV show for a year. No. In the first TV rating ever for the podcast, Cape Fear 2026 is garbage.
Oh, it's garbage. Okay.
Not worth your time. Don't Don't do it.
Yeah, I kind of like the 4 thing, maybe. I don't know. The reason why is because there's something that you might not like and would skip out, but you could be like, shit, but there's an audience here for it.
Yes,
you know
yes.
What I mean?
And that's where it can maybe dip into good.
All right, so I'm struggling a little bit, but I think I got this pretty narrowed down.
Okay.
I cannot give this any sort of laces for sure.
Okay.
I'm not, but, is it, this gets 1 shoe, and that's not true. We'll give it 1 shoe and a lace.
Okay.
We'll give it 1 shoe and a lace, so it doesn't get 2 shoes. Definitely doesn't get 2 shoes and a lace or anything like that, but we'll give it 1 and we'll lace it up. I don't consider this to be a 30%, a 1 shoe, 0 laced up.
Right.
You got 1 shoe tied on there at least, because there's enough going on here where although I was dragging and maybe not excited to keep going, by the time that 9th and 10th episode got around, I actually made a thing. I was like, okay, I'll make dinner. I want to just sit down and actually watch this and end it.
You're excited for the finale.
And I kind of just wanted to see, what are the arcs? Please end it. Even though if I can see where it's going, I would like to see it get there.
Right. Even if you can predict it, you want to see it play out.
And you know what I mean? And that's one, no 2 shoes on. I got no 2 shoes for this, but I'll got 1 shoe and a lace at least. So that's what we have it on there. Do I put this on the website?
Well, okay. I don't know if we need to hash this out on the episode, but again, I think the issue of multiple directors, production cast, it might be a little bit of a nightmare to list that all, in a concise way.
I can put the cast and probably the writers.
Okay,
and then
that can get wild.
I don't know if it's
different writers.
I don't know if it's that wild. Well, then I'll
episodes.
Okay, then I'll put the cast.
Okay,
I'll put the cast,
and then showrunner.
Sure. Yeah. I guess.
We were talking about this, folks, when it comes to
That's not really what I was talking about, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
I don't care how I put it on the site. It's like, do I put it on the site? Where does it go? Do I just put it on the site? Do I add a compilation?
We gave it a rating. It goes on the site.
Under Now Playing? I can't even put a percentage to it. It's going to put a little garbage bin.
Catch up? I don't know. In that sense, I don't know the organization of it. My thinking was more so of just like, how do we get across information in a concise way that's not like, 3 pages equivalent?
Okay. Oh yeah. No. The cast will be there.
Okay.
I'm going to look at the writers. If it's just a few writers for the entire thing, then I'll put the writers. And under director, I'll probably put nothing, or I'll put parentheses showrunner. Whoever this guy is, Nick. So
Nick.
I think that's what we'll do it. And then I'm going to put it under recently rated.
Okay.
I'm going to put it under Now Playing because it's not in theaters. And then I think I might start a compilation.
For the TVs.
Yep. And it'll be one sitting there for probably a very long time.
Yeah, folks. Do let us know.
I forgot I made that URL last week, though, too. I got to add. I'm making a whole TV site. That's right.
Very rude.
Forgot about it. Sorry.
On the spot. Hip fire that URL.
What are you adding with folks?
No, folks. Honestly, this was the first time doing this. If you have any feedback, if you enjoyed this kind of discussion, kind of nebulously 10 episodes of a show and try to dance around, big spoilers, let us know, because this was definitely fun, and when it matters to tie it into movies we want to genuinely talk about,
sure.
I think it would be great to kind of pair that.
The one I can think of right off the top of my head is if we ever want to have an Alien special, essentially. Now, I know we covered Romulus, but we haven't covered Alien or Aliens. Have we? Or did we
No, not on podcast.
And then, of course, the show came out on Netflix.
Yeah, true.
Regardless, we'll deal with that when we can deal with it. That's it. Any other notes, bold, highlight anything here? I don't even know what podcast this is anymore. What?
No, that's about it. We can roll credits.
Excellent, folks. So, okay, let's. Well, thank you so much for watching as much as we did this week, because it was a lot. You brought notes.
You too.
Thanks for stopping by here this evening, folks. At home, we'll run it down one more time. We've got Cape Fear from 62. That got a 75%. Cape Fear from 91. A Big Boy Alert, a must-watch at an 88%. And then Cape Fear, the TV show, finally completed, all for you sitting there on Apple TV. I gave it a 1 shoe, 1 lace, and Vin gave it a garbage. Folks, it's a blast hanging out week after week. We've got some other great movies for you next week, some new ones, some old ones as well. I'll be back on Tuesday to close up the Dolby dives that I've been doing. We had Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision, and let's talk about Dolby Cinema on Tuesday. We love hanging out with you week after week. We'll have Vincent Daly back here Thursday next week on the Daily Ratings Podcast. And hey, if you enjoyed the podcast, if you would, give us a good rating. or get the word out and tell a friend about us. And just a reminder that the Daily Ratings is completely producer-supported. We want to stay away from advertising, and we don't want to have any paywalls or tier structures or subscriptions. It's all just value for value. So, are you finding value in what we're doing here at the Daily Ratings? Then become a producer and donate whatever amount of value that is. Just go to the donations tab on thedailyratings.com, and while you're there, be sure to check out the massive amount of films that Vince has rated. So thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Daily Ratings Podcast.